guys, welcome back to our channel. It is Dre and Bre. I got in trouble last time. Make sure I put his name first.
You love me like yeah, you love me like no, you love me like oh, oh, oh. You love me like yeah, you love me like no, you love me like oh, oh, oh. You love me like yeah.
Today we are talking about how to properly be single and what that looks like. So, Dre,
episode number 1 of the Worth the Wait series.
I guess I'm not a professional, I'm sorry. Episode 1 of Worth the Wait series. It was in our single stage in life that we decided that we wanted to wait for marriage. So I'll talk about my experience, Dre can talk about his, and then we'll get into our advice. So I was getting out of a relationship where I was being cheated on, found out about it, knew about it, and kept putting myself in the same situation. I decided that I was not going to deal with it anymore, and I knew that moving forward, I did not want to give myself fully to somebody until they fully gave themselves to me. That's where I was. It was kind of like, you know, I'm single now, I've made some mistakes, and I realized that I got lost in my relationship with this person and I let them treat me wrong because I wasn't secure with myself and where I was at, even if I felt like I was secure. I also realized something that was really hard for me, that I was a case of having daddy issues, is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's the term.
Okay, so it was really hard because after self-reflecting, I was like, maybe I am bothered by the fact that I don't have a relationship with my dad. I had to realize how it affected me that he wasn't in my life, and it was really hard. I had to really learn about myself all over again. So I was like, you know what, let me not date these guys. Let me not get these nice things from them. Let me not pretend I like this person when I know I really don't like them, but I know that I'm just getting a free dinner or a free bag. It's like, what am I doing, right? Because at some point I want to be married. I want to find the person I love. I want to have a family. So I had to date myself. During my single days, I actually have a video where I had said that I know my man is out here marinating for me, getting ready and preparing, because at the end of the day, if I'm not whole as a person, if I don't know what I really want out of life, how can I attract somebody who knows what they want and who is whole and will treat me right? Right now, my man is somewhere out there marinating. So it wasn't until I really put it all up and told God, like, I'm going to do what I need to do to get me together, and I know that when the time is right, you'll bring me the right person.
I only had 2 girlfriends in my life. One in high school, which wasn't that much of a relationship, I guess. And then I had one in college, which was fairly serious, at least from my standards. It only lasted like 4 months or so. But anyways, I was in college. I ain't gonna lie, played football. I was just, I was running and gunning, to say the least. I was enjoying life, or what I thought was enjoying life at the time. But then after a while, I just got really tired of everything that I was doing. So I'm a really paranoid person when it comes to everything, pretty much. I always think about what's the worst that could happen. And every time I would be with somebody or do something, I'd just be paranoid, be like, yo, like, what will happen? Like, I didn't do this. Like, maybe what I was doing, like, was unprotected or something like that. So I'd just be, like, paranoid, like, dang, like, well, what if I may have gotten her, or just started to get paranoid. So it used to eat at me every single time, like, whenever I used to do something. And now, after a while, I just got really, really tired of it. And then I always, in my life, growing up, I've never been a player type. I've always been that guy who thought that, like, it has to be, to find this one person. It's all these beautiful women in the world, but to find this one person that you want to spend the rest of your life with has to be this amazing thing. It has to be this amazing feeling to find that one person out of everybody else you want to spend your life with. And I always wanted that. Like, always wanted to find that, always was looking for that. Sometimes I was looking in the wrong places for that, or my expectations were a little too high for that. But I always wanted that. So then it was December 31st last year. I really made the commitment And I was just like, you know, throughout my life, every time, for the way I've been raised and through my experience, every time that I did things according to like God's word and was obedient to what God has said in my life, like things end up being better even than what I thought they would be. So I made the commitment on that day, well, really January 1st, and said, you know what, like I'm gonna wait till marriage to have sex. And at that point, I had no girlfriend. I cut everybody off. So in my head, it could have been 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I didn't know when that was gonna stop or when that person was gonna come. And to make a long story short, we'll get into this a little bit later, but there was a girl that I used to have relations with a lot. And she had hit me up one day, and I just like told her, I was like, nah, I can't do it. I told her I wasn't having sex before marriage. She was like, are you doing that for Lent or something like that? Like, is that, I'm like, nah, it's a permanent thing. And the funny thing is, after I like told her like, nah, like I can't do it, this one texted me the next day. Hadn't heard from her since September of the year before. But that's into something else. But that's my experience being single. I realized that I was with people that after we did what we did, I didn't even want them to stay. I didn't like, it's like I didn't really like them. Like I didn't really like them. I was attracted to them physically, but I didn't like them. And I was like, yo, this sucks.
I cannot see you having sex with somebody.
You're not supposed to.
Good, I'm just saying.
That's a past life behind me.
I know, but it's just like, ugh.
Get out your toes. Look up.
Thinking about it. So my advice to all you ladies out there that are single is to really self-reflect. Look at yourself, see what things are going on in your life that could be better, the things that you are doing that you feel maybe need to stop. Look at the people you're surrounding yourselves with, really set some goals, and just work on you. And I feel, just from experience and from, you know, stories of other people that are in successful relationships, that the time you find someone, the person who you're supposed to be with, is when you're not even looking for them. And this is a great analogy. It's kind of like if you are really, really hungry, but you have a specific taste for a lobster. So you go to a pond and you go fishing and you keep getting fish. And every time you pick it up, it's like you have a list of all these things that meet the requirement of a lobster. So you know that when you pick up that fish, it's not a lobster, but because you're so hungry and you just want to eat, and you're like, at this point, this will do. And you just take that fish and you walk away and you eat it, knowing that it wasn't the lobster that you really wanted. So it's like with guys, is that stupid?
No,
that's good, right?
I'm a little impressed.
Thank you. I just came up with it too. No, seriously though. So it's like, if I'm so hungry to the point where I'm willing to eat something that I didn't even want just because it was the closest thing I could find to it, is like you're not solving the whole goal of what you set out to do. Is like, I'm looking for this lobster, so I'm not going to stop until I find a lobster. We deal with these fish dudes and we're like, yo, why aren't you being a lobster? And it's like, he meets none of the requirements. He's not even close to a lobster. Why do you keep looking at this fish like it's gonna turn to a lobster? And we know it, and we get upset, and then we think that we did something wrong because we picked a fish instead of the lobster in the first place. So it's like, drop the fish and go get your lobster. And if you can't find your lobster, it's probably because you're not a lobster yourself yet. You're still a fish. So get yourself together, and then you get what you've been looking for. And it's an amazing feeling. Because when I first met Dre, I was a fish. He was looking for a lobster. It wasn't until after I went back to Cleveland, I didn't talk to this man. He wasn't even in my thoughts. And I got myself all the way together. I didn't even think that I would ever date him, that I would ever move here. And the way that everything happened just lets you know that things happen for a reason, and you want to position yourself to be in life to accept the blessings that are coming your way, but you have to be in the right position. So if you're still dealing with fishes, and when that lobster walks by, you don't realize that you just saw a lobster because you're so used to dealing with this fish, it's like, what are you doing?
Well, I have a few thoughts on being single. I feel like the main first is to piggyback on what she said, in a sense of you would settle for a fish because you're hungry instead of waiting for your lobster. When it comes to being single, in entering into a relationship, when you're single, you should be full in a sense. And I say that to mean that you shouldn't be looking for somebody else to complete you or to fill you
that's
up.
Good.
So the thing is that you should, when you're going looking for your lobster, you shouldn't be going starving in a sense. Like, you shouldn't be going starving, like you're so hungry that even if the lobster doesn't come, you're settling for something else. So when it comes to being single, you take that time to really evaluate yourself and learn to live alone. Because the thing is, in a relationship, you don't want to settle. That's the thing that I always put into perspective that's so crazy to me. Because when you look at being committed to somebody or marriage, and I've told her this before, is that it's you take those vows. It's like through sickness or through health. It's like that person that you were with got paralyzed from the waist down or got cancer. You're saying, I will still be there. Through rich or through poor, you lose your job, and now we downsized from a 3-bedroom house into a small apartment in a not so good area. I will still be there. And the only thing that's gonna take us apart is death, till death do us part. That's a serious commitment that you're saying to somebody. That's a serious vow that you're making. So why take that so lightly? Why settle for somebody who's not what you want or not what you need just because you feel alone? Because that commitment that you're going to end up making to that person is life-changing and life-altering. As a man, you're called to be a leader of your relationship. And you can't enter into a relationship with uncertainty. You can't enter into your relationship without your morals and at least your principles, your foundation of how you're going to live your life together before you enter into a relationship. So we have so many men, boys, whatever, these days that enter into their relationship and they don't even have the foundation or principles of how they want to live their life. So they're mad when they're with a woman and she won't follow him, but he doesn't even understand that he doesn't even have his own morals and principles set up to even lead. So he wants somebody to follow him when he don't even know where he's going. So when you're single as a man, you can take that time to be like, all right, let me start to create, even like a football field, start to create these guidelines, these out-of-bound lines that I want to operate in this space, and anything outside of it, I'm not tolerating, I'm not dealing with. And then as a man, when you're single, you start to set a direction for your life. Then you can find a woman that will grow with you that's going in the same direction. But if you have no idea where you're going to go, first, how you going to lead somebody else? And then you're going to be confused on what woman you want, because one day you're going to be going this way, you're going to be looking for a woman that's going that way. Then the next day you're going to be going this way and looking for a woman that's going that way, because you have no idea where you're trying to go. So as a man, when you're single, like I said, it's crucial that you take the time to learn yourself, learn how you want to live your life, learn what guidelines that you're going to set for yourself and what principles you're going to live by, because that's ultimately going to affect you, your family, your kids, and generations to come after you. Don't settle is one of the biggest things. Don't settle for somebody who's less than what you want or less than what you need. Don't look for somebody to complete you. You need to learn how to be complete by yourself. In Bre's example, somebody who knows how to fish and eat for themselves and knows how to feed themselves won't go and get a fish and be like, all right, I'm just going to eat this fish. It's like, nah, I'm not going to settle for a fish. I can get lobster myself. I can make it myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you my lobster.
I don't know why she used that example. It's pretty good, though. Pretty good. We're not perfect. We argue all the time. She annoys me.
Not really. We don't argue.
We don't argue all the time. We don't.
We don't disrespectfully.
We know. But we get into, like, it's a relationship.
I'm annoying.
No relationship that you're going to be in is going to be perfect. You can't name one relationship that's perfect. So it's like, we all have our issues, but it's about how you work through those things and what we do. So we don't say this all to say we're perfect. We're just trying to help those who are going through the same stuff and help people just live a better life with the one they love. Peace.
And chicken grease. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment below. Let us know if you have questions. Make sure you follow us at Brianna Ponte, at
It's Dre Smith.
and at worth the THEE. Wait.